President Trump touting his 365 wins in 365 days, marking a year full of accomplishments as he made a surprise appearance at the White House press briefing.
We have a book that I'm not going to read to you, but these are the accomplishments of what we've produced. All page after page after page, individual things. I could stand here and read it for a week and we wouldn't be finished. But we've done more than any other administration has done by far in terms of military, in terms of ending wars, in terms of completing wars. Nobody's really seen very much like it.
Joining us now is senior writer for the Washington Examiner and Fox News contributor, Joe Concha. Joe, great to have you. But is that message going to get out there when you have a mainstream media that is so hostile to this president? Their latest example being there's such negative coverage of what's going on in Minneapolis.
Oh, wow. Yeah, great question, Todd. And I think what the president did yesterday is exactly what needed to be done, where he basically kept the White House press corps for many minutes as far as talking about all of his accomplishments. And they just had to sit there and listen to it. And obviously that press conference yesterday was carried by at least all of the cable news networks. So there he controlled the message and read off all of his accomplishments. And it's very easy to see why this is seen by many who are at least are objective, one of the most successful or at least transformative first years any president has had in our lifetime. So I have a top five. I'll reel it off real quick. And these are monumental accomplishments, by the way, guys. Gas prices are now well below $3 per gallon, some states below $2 per gallon. During the Auto Pen administration, those prices were unthinkable. Number 4, the murder rate in the United States has dropped more precipitously than any year since such recordings were made. Again, an incredible accomplishment. Number 3, Iran's nuclear capabilities being decimated by Operation Midnight Hammer. That was carried out by the U.S. military, executed to precision. No U.S. casualties, by the way, and it didn't lead to a wider conflict in the Middle East like many predicted such an exercise would. Number 2, the stock market has gone from around closing at 38,000 in early April after Trump's Liberation Day around tariffs was launched. We're approaching 50,000 this month. That's a 25% jump in less than 10 months. And finally, number 1, the U.S. southern border essentially being closed, which has made this country far more safer, far more secure, far more healthier in terms of fentanyl deaths, dropping precipitously as well. Trump and his team did that without comprehensive immigration reform. Democrats said was absolutely needed to accomplish such a feat. And all it took was a new president, to quote President Trump himself. Those are my top 5 accomplishments. And trust me, there were many more.
Well, yesterday he was also asked if he thinks God would be proud of what he's accomplished in his first year in office. And he said yes, especially when it comes to what he's done to protect the religiously persecuted, which I thought was a notable response from him. Something else that I was thinking about, Joe, when it comes to what he's done in office and the reaction to it is, it was just a few short weeks ago that the world was shocked by the capture of Nicolas Maduro. And now nobody's talking about it anymore because even critics are kind of like, well, while bold, that was probably a good move by the president. And that always appears to be the case, where President Trump is not afraid to weather the initial shock value of upsetting precedent to get the desired outcome. And then the criticism and controversy just goes away. And that could also be the case when it comes to Greenland.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Nicolas Maduro. I mean, that was one of the most complex, most difficult military exercises, if you talk to military folks, that we have seen, some saying even more complex and more dangerous than when we took out bin Laden in Pakistan. And to snatch and grab Nicolas Maduro in 3 minutes while reading him his rights, now he's back in New York along with Mrs. Maduro, will probably go away to jail for life the way El Chapo did, the way Noriega did. That was a great accomplishment, I think, because it was so precise and so well executed. That's why the press isn't talking about it at this point, because that would mean actually giving President Trump the credit that he deserves in this situation. So, yeah, this is only year 1. We still got 3 years to go, guys. It felt like already 4 years or even 8 years in this first term. But President Trump, a lot more to do. And the midterms, obviously, will determine whether he gets done all the things he really wants to in 4 years.
Joe, I'm going to go on the record here. The administration is going to have, I think, think their biggest talking point on the economy come around March or April when people start getting their tax refunds. I think above inflation, above everything else, when they see that money just pop in their bank account, I think that's going to be
inching
huge.
closer to the midterm election.
Fox News contributor Joe Concha, thank you with that.
Fox in Front starts right now.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.